Hi everybody, welcome to the West End Theatre Reporter. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I do hope that you'll consider subscribing because I've got a load of really exciting shows that are coming up. So the show that I'm going to talk about today is Hadestown, which is on at the Lyric Theatre in London's West End. Here I am at Hadestown, and then next to it is Fawlty Towers. And then over there is Oliver. Les Miserables behind that. Gosh, well, yeah, West End. Beautiful big chandelier there in the middle. A couple of theatre boxes along the sides. I'm up in the heavens. For those of you who don't know the story of Orpheus in the underworld, the first mention of this myth seems to have appeared about 2,500 years ago in Greece. And the tale is of this young man, Orpheus, who in the Greek tale played a lute very beautifully and sang very beautifully and composed very beautifully. And he met this girl, Eurydice, whom he fell in love with. One day while Eurydice was out, she was bitten by a snake and taken down to the underworld by Hades, the god of the underworld. So Orpheus then decided he was going to make this trip into the underworld and get her back into the land of the living. So he made his trip, he got to the underworld and spoke to Hades. Hades said, "You can take her back on condition that you walk in front and she walks behind, and that you must never turn around. If you turn around, she will be taken back to the underworld immediately." So this seems like a fair deal to Orpheus, and the two of them set off on this journey, Orpheus leading the way, Eurydice behind. They make their ascent back into the land of the living, and just as they get to 10 seconds from being safe, he turns around to see if she's made it and she's okay, which means, of course, that he's broken the contract, and Eurydice gets dragged down into the underworld, never to come out. So that's the basic premise of this play, and the story of Orpheus and Eurydice has captured many artists' imagination, and it's been used in paintings, and there's a wonderful opera by Gluck with one of the most beautiful arias, I think, in the world of opera, which is Che farò senza Eurydice. I'll put a link to that below. But the modern telling of the tale is equally beautiful. This musical that was written by Anne Mitchell is set in what looks like a New Orleans jazz club. There's a live band on stage, a double bass, an acoustic guitar, a cello, a violin, a trombone, glockenspiel, piano and drums. So it's a big band, and they're sort of scattered around the stage. And the music is somewhere between blues and jazz and musical theatre. But it's beautifully compelling music. The lead male, Orpheus, is played by somebody called Dylan Wood. He has this very unusual vocal approach. He sings in what sounds like head voice most of the time, until he gets to his big number, which is when he sings to Eurydice, "Wait for me, I'm coming." And when he sings this number, he goes out of his head voice into a fuller chest voice. His character's this very fey, away with the fairies type of musician. Eurydice is played by this wonderful girl called Madeleine Charlemagne. She used to be one of the Fates in the show. So she's been in the show for a while, previously playing one of the Fates, and she's now been promoted to the lead role. I loved her. She had this, I mean, physically, her presence was awesome. She's tall. She's every bit as tall as him, very athletic looking. She kind of looks like Wonder Woman, you know. She's got this real athletic, agile sort of body. Sings and acts absolutely beautifully. Her big song is Flowers, which happens in the second half of the show. That song is quite a slow, sort of jazzy, bluesy number, but it gets up to this big crescendo where there's a lot of chesty, belty notes, and she delivers them impeccably. Another performance that's really worth noting is the lady who plays Persephone. This part was played by someone called Rachel Tucker. And going back to the story briefly, Anne Mitchell has added into this story of Orpheus and Eurydice another story of Hades and Persephone, where Hades took Persephone to live with him in the underworld forever. So when Orpheus and Eurydice get to the underworld, Persephone's there. So her big number comes also in the second half, when she sings Our Lady of the Underground. My word, that's brilliant singing, brilliant performing. I mean, really jaw-dropping stuff. She's fantastic. There are three girls, three ladies called the Three Fates, and they've got quite a demanding role. The three of them weave about the stage, singing in three-part harmony for the most part. And while they're doing so, one of them plays an accordion, and one of them plays what looks like a viola, and the other one plays various percussion instruments. Another role that's really worth mentioning in the show is the narrator. And normally this is played by somebody called Melanie LeBarry. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see Melanie LeBarry, although her understudy was fantastic. All in all, the show is just really creative. As I said, it's set in this jazz club, and the whole thing's got this vaguely Great Depression feel. It's just a really well-directed, well-constructed, a very creative piece of theatre. I loved every minute of it. I think I paid £25 for my ticket. I bought it through a site called Central Tickets, where they often have these huge discounts. So I only paid £25. I had a decent seat. I did sit up, as you can see from my camera footage. I was sitting up quite high in the gods, but I could still see the show okay. That's it for this week. The next show that I'm going to be reviewing is The Tempest, starring none other than Sigourney Weaver, she of the Alien series. So that's really exciting as well. Take care, and I shall see you next time.